Well, good day to everyone. And you notice I say good day and welcome to everyone because we are really pleased to have representatives this year, two countries, US and Canada, and across four time zones. So I always start out with the good day, okay? And I'm Beverly Scott, founder and CEO of AYA, for those I have not had the opportunity of being able to meet. And I just want to give a little backdrop on Aya. I've personally been in the transportation sector for 45 years. And when people would ask me, they say, Beverly, I fell into it, give them the background of, I was teaching government and public affairs at Tennessee State University. And it was like this fellowship came up back in 1976, and one thing led to another. And it's 45 years later, nine systems, four times as a CEO. And it's like, that's why I say, but you should ask me the question, why did I stay and why have I stayed? And the answer to that remains the same as I would have told you 20 years ago. And that's because been blessed to be in the business of community building for the majority of my life. Okay. And so that's the perspective that we take in terms of transportation and the other critical infrastructure sectors, that we're not selling infrastructure. We're talking about people and communities and outcomes and community building. And that's what these sectors really, the magic that is behind these sectors. And so, having fallen into this career, okay, you turn around, you start looking and talking to a lot of your peers, and they say the same thing. It's like, how many of you, and it was really, really, it's better now, but in the early days, you could say, how many of you actually knew that you really wanted to be a transportation CEO? And you'd ask people to raise their hands, and there might be six that raised their hands in a room of 300 people. So the issue very clearly of career awareness it was clearly that career awareness. And when we in 2019, we started out was really a focus on career awareness. We were welcoming to everyone, but we're unapologetically focused our program on youth and communities that have been consistently underrepresented in these careers. Okay, and then so we started out with career awareness. Then we expanded into experiential learning. Okay, it's not enough to read it. Okay, and I'm saying that the respect for living it and also making sure that as part of the experience that young people are valued, okay, and that they actually wind up intentionally getting the opportunity to really work on meaningful projects and initiatives and issues and opportunities within their communities. And that's where we came up with the Virtual Innovation Challenge with a little help from the pandemic. I'll be quite honest, would we have started this out as a virtual challenge? I quite candidly doubt it if it had not been for the fact of the pandemic. And here we are now. This is our third annual Virtual Innovation Challenge weekend. We kicked off, as we were talking a little bit offline, we kicked off last evening with our Career Awareness Trivia Contest, and we will culminate with our Program Recognition and Award Program, and that will be next week. And at that point, we'll recognize all of our local hosts, and we've had a total of 12 this year. Our sponsors, our partners, I always make note of the American Public Transportation Association, APTA, because we have been very honored for them to be our platinum sponsor for the 3 years of this challenge. And then at that meeting, which we'll look for all of you to be at, we'll be announcing this year's Career Awareness Trivia winner and the exciting Innovation Challenge Team Awards. And we don't do any of this work by ourselves. We are absolutely honored to have a tremendous professional network of folks who support us. And I really want to take this time to recognize our national judges, our distinguished group of national judges. And I'm going to be shortening everybody, but everybody is fabulous, including all of our participants. Leslie Rogers is the chair of our national judges. And this is the second time we've been able to have him as a chair. Leslie is the principal of LTR Advisory Services, a consulting practice that provides strategic advisory service to executives and professionals. But prior to establishing his consulting practice 4 years ago, he completed almost 40 years with the Federal Transit Administration, serving in numerous capacities, consul in the Denver area in New York, and then for almost 20 years was the Region 9 administrator for the Federal Transit Administration, and that covered California, Nevada, Arizona, Hawaii, 3 Pacific territories, a budget typically in terms of allocations of about $2.5 billion a year, and a portfolio that included over $20 billion in exceeded $20 billion in terms of federal transportation funded projects. He received his BA from, so he knows a lot about all the different topics and everything. He received a BA from Northwestern University, and his law degree is from Howard University, also my alma mater. So that's a little extra right there. Jose Ramirez, okay, he is the human resources manager at LA Metro. He's absolutely a servant leader and very committed to making a positive impact in the Los Angeles County. He's a first generation Latino from Southern California. He earned his bachelor's in science degree in public administration, another bit of alignment there, with a minor in communications from California State University. And he began, as I did, his profession. I began, you can call him what you want. I was a fellow, okay? He began his professional journey with LA Metro as an intern, okay? And then after completing that, he moved up, and he is the LA Metro today. He's their human resources manager. And in that role, he oversees both their internal and external professional development programs, including some really exciting things like their Metro Leadership Academy, Max, which is an agency-wide leadership development and succession planning, and they're just doing tremendous things. And of course, they're going to be the site of the next Olympics. So you can only imagine all of the things that he has on his plate, and we are absolutely thrilled to have him as one of the judges and as one of the participants in the program this year. But not they're participating to be ready to do it next year. Okay, so they don't have a team that's actually participating this year. Okay, Grace Almeida. Okay. Grace is a service analyst at Metro Transit in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and she focuses on running times, operator, all the, these really like real nuts and bolts practical things, restroom access. And she serves as the project lead for the School Trippers program. But then in addition to that, she has prior experience at Minnesota Valley Transit Authority, Louisville. I think she was also with TARC. And the other area that she brings in is that she has worked with as a partner to extend the sustainability initiatives at the Transit Authority, and they are leading the development of the first ever agency sustainability plan. And I actually believe that they received a most transformative plan designation recognition by the Federal Transit Administration. And we're also thrilled to have Grace here because she is a recent class graduate of the 2025 APTA Emerging Leaders Program. And so, Grace, thank you very, very much for your participation today. And then we have Justin Augustine. Justin is at AC Transit in the Oakland and Alameda Contra Costa. He has extensive transportation management and with a real focus on community engagement and project management and the whole area of workforce development. He has over 13 years of experience across various cities and sectors. His educational background, transportation, bachelor's in psychology and political science. And he also carries a project management, a PMP certification in the whole area of project management. And he has been absolutely instrumental at AC Transit, particularly as they have been working to really foster partnerships and stronger relationships within the community. And then we have finally, but not last, Dr. Jamal Scobie. He's a senior program officer with the Transportation Research Board, a division of the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. He has over 20 years of progressive responsibility in the sector. He's done public, he's done private, he's been involved in over 100 different studies and projects, different places, regularly is at conferences and meetings to talk about best practices. And he holds a master's degree in transportation planning and a doctor of philosophy in urban planning from Texas Southern University. So we're absolutely delighted to have all of our judges here today, and we try to make sure that we can cover a broad swath of the types of innovation projects that come before us. And now to the real heart of the matter, okay? It gives me an absolute tremendous pleasure, okay, to introduce Team TunnelWatch, okay? Oh my God, when tracks talk, we listen, okay? This is the mighty Toronto Transit Commission. This is our third year, as I said in the challenge, and no pressure, but I tell you, they have been the number one winners. They've been the winners in our prior competitions. I mean, just unbelievable commitment of the organization. A little bit of background on TTC. TTC is the largest public transportation provider in about it's over 12,500 employees, billions of dollars in terms of their annual program, and just an extensive transit system network, which dates back portions of it into the mid 1800s. And just unbelievable. I was just up there for some meetings about 3 months ago, and I enjoyed every minute of being able to be in rarefied TTC air. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about. I'll tell you in a minute about their project, but I want to have the opportunity to introduce these distinguished folks here, and I hope I do not slaughter names. Okay, so for the TTC team, we have Rishti Amin, okay. Rishi is a recent graduate of the University of Toronto, Scarborough, where he earned a Bachelor of Science Administration with a focus on strategic management. He's worked as an IT analyst at the Ministry of Transportation of Ontario and Chick-fil-A's international headquarters, and they were really looking at transformative initiatives, like really major, okay, across public and private sectors. He has a passion for public transit, which comes from years of commuting, okay, using public transit systems, and seeing what some of the challenges as well as opportunities are. And he's committed to using data, technology, and thoughtful design to make transit more reliable, safer for workers, and better for customers and riders. Okay, this project is his way of contributing to a system that millions depend on and helping the TTC move towards a smarter, more sustainable future. Thank you very much, Rishi. Then the next, Drew Takish Javari, okay, otherwise affectionately known as DJ, okay. I just I was gonna go, I'm getting to the DJ very quickly, okay. He's a recent graduate from the University of Waterloo, where he earned a degree in honors science and business with a minor in economics. And in the fall, he's gonna begin his Master's of Biomedical Innovation at McMaster University. His academic background has really equipped him with a real strong foundation in science and business and problem solving, which he really is the focus for him, is to be able to apply all that to real world context. Okay. During his time at the TTC, he worked within the innovation office and contributed to projects that looked at the whole impact technology could have on enhancing the transit experience. And he's looking ahead and wants to really build on that momentum by continuing to explore how innovation and innovative ideas and emerging technologies can make very complex systems like public transit a lot more efficient, accessible, future ready, and most importantly, safer. Okay. And then so thank you so much, Drew, a DJ, for being here. Our next from the mighty Toronto Transit Commission is Umaru Tubani. Okay. And Umaru is I'm gonna get this right, mechatronics engineering student with a strong interest in transit systems innovation and how small technological changes can really drive meaningful operational improvement. She enjoys exploring how engineering can enhance the efficiency and safety of everyday systems. And since joining the challenge, she's been applying her technical skills to real world problems and takes a real practical approach to large scale issues. And so for her, it's a real opportunity to turn innovative ideas into impactful solutions with big impacts within the transit space. So thank you so very, very much for your contributions to this project. Okay. And then Koasa Animation. Okay. I think I might have gotten it halfway right. Is a third year digital experience design student at George Brown College who has a strong passion for user centered design and accessibility. She's particularly interested in how digital tools and thoughtful design can improve the way that people experience public transit, making it more intuitive, inclusive, and human centered. And so through the Aya challenge, she was really looking at it and saying, well, this is really an exciting way for me to be able to apply, really apply her transit and knowledge and everything to the innovation to the whole area of transit. And she sees it as an initiative, as really a platform to explore how design can play a critical role in shaping the future of infrastructure, ensuring that systems are not only functional, but they're also equitable and engaging for all the users. So thank you so much, Kasari, for your participation and for your contribution to this year's program. And then finally, but not last, we have Ulek. I would have pronounced this Alexa, but I'm not going to. Alexa, okay? Kabuni, okay, I hope I got that right, okay, is a recent graduate of Toronto Metropolitan University, where she earned a degree in commerce. She has a strong foundation in business strategy, technology, and user-centered thinking. She is passionate about solving complex problems through practical, forward-looking solutions. And one of the reasons that she was really eager to do this was she wanted to apply her background to the transit space because she's particularly interested in how strategic thinking and user needs can really intersect to make transit systems more accessible, efficient, and future ready. Okay, so that is our outstanding Toronto Transit Commission team. And now, what did they put their efforts to? Okay, so here we go. It's Team Tunnel Watch. And Team Tunnel Watch is about helping make subway systems safer and more reliable with their Smarter Subways project. Their idea is to install small sensors on working subway cars to constantly check the tracks for problems like cracks, misalignment, debris before they turn into major issues. This real-time data is sent to a digital dashboard, which helps maintenance teams respond faster and avoid dangerous conditions. It also cuts down on expensive service delays, but number one, it improves safety for workers and for customers. It also cuts down on it also cuts down on overall expense, okay? But by using new technology to track problems early, the team hopes to save money, reduce disruptions, and at the end of the day, make transit more dependable and reliable for everyone and safer for everyone. So with that, I'm going to now say, Isaiah, our project manager, if you will turn on the TTC's 3-minute video.
Everyday commuters across Toronto feel the strain of a transit system grappling with aging infrastructure and outdated maintenance practices. Delays, closures, and last minute disruptions have become familiar and frustrating experiences for TTC riders. In 2024, the TTC spent over $300 million on operational costs, a significant portion of which went towards routine network maintenance and emergency repairs. The current maintenance model is rooted in scheduled or reactive responses. Let's learn more about why this is an issue for all transit agencies.
Beyond financial costs and service disruptions, the current approach to maintenance poses serious risk for workers, which is a critical yet often overlooked consequence. Under TTC's predominantly scheduled and reactive maintenance model, crews are frequently entering into the field with limited visibility into real-time infrastructure conditions. 1 in 7 employees indicated that physical safety of the work environment had a major influence on them leaving the TTC. This reactive approach often requires staff to enter hazardous environments during emergency repairs, last-minute inspections as well. The sheer frequency of these entries, often outside of planned maintenance windows, increases exposure to dangerous situations, including track live track areas, electrical systems, and unstable tunnel conditions.
So how exactly can we solve for this?
We propose a modular sensor pod that can be mounted directly onto subway cars, transforming every train into a mobile diagnostic system.
Each sensor will have
LiDAR to detect misalignment or deformation, ultrasonic pulses to identify cracks and fatigue, vibration analysis to flag loose or unstable components, infrared sensors to catch overheating or stress points, and HD cameras with AI tagging to detect visual damage or debris.
As each train runs its route, it becomes a data gathering machine, feeding thousands of data points into a centralized dashboard that puts intelligence into the hands of those who need it the most.
We've created a mock-up of a dashboard of what this will look like.
Dashboard features an interactive subway map that instantly shows flagged issues. With a few clicks, workers can view up-to-date photos and data pinpointing the problem's exact location and nature. An AI assistant supports track teams with real-time alerts and predicts future risks, keeping crews informed and ahead of the issues.
This is just the beginning of a system-wide transformation that puts frontline workers at the heart of innovation. Crews will no longer have to respond blindly to emergencies or risk their safety. When we empower the people behind the system, we power the future of transit itself.
Thank you so much, Team TTC. You may now begin sharing your screen. And once you guys start your presentation, I'll let the timer go and you guys will have your 15 minutes to present. Thank you so much and good luck.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, first off, thank you so much, Dr. Scott, for that introduction. And thank you to all the judges for being here today. We're really excited to share our project, Protecting Workers with Smarter Subways, a proposal focused on using real data and adaptive intelligence to
And
improve.
also, I just want to make sure if everyone is able to see the screen. Okay, looks like it just loaded. Perfect. All right, thank you so much.
Perfect. So as I said, yeah, we're really excited to share our proposal to improve subway maintenance. So over the past few weeks, we've worked closely with TTC's innovation ecosystem to really understand the deeper challenges around subway maintenance. So not just the technical side, but the human side as well. So from day one, we really made it a priority to ground our ideas in operational reality, which meant digging into TTC reports, analyzing real cost data, and speaking directly with internal teams to better understand how maintenance happens on the ground. So with that said, we'll walk through the challenge, our proposed solution, how it aligns with TTC's priorities and broader sustainability goals, and how this could be piloted in a real-world setting.
So let's start by grounding ourselves in the core challenge we aim to address. In 2024, the TTC spent $300 million on operational costs, and these funds cover crucial services like routine network switch maintenance and emergency repairs. But here's the catch. The current approach to maintenance is outdated and inefficient. We found that the TTC lacks the preventative infrastructure to catch issues early, and that leads to avoidable service disruptions that come at a high cost. For example, when you close the subway early for one night, it costs around $35,000, but a full weekend shutdown can cost up to $500,000. So that's $250,000 per day. And beyond just the dollars, there's also an impact on rider trust. When service becomes unpredictable, people start turning to alternatives like cars, taxis, ride shares, further undermining TTC's reliability perception. Now, these inefficiencies aren't abstract, they have tangible compounding effects. First, we're seeing over maintenance, right? Crews often service components that don't yet need attention just because of routine, and this drains time and budget without real benefit. Meanwhile, critical issues can go undetected, like track wear or cracks. This can lead to unexpected failures and costly emergency interventions. And perhaps the most concerning, there's a constant physical burden on crews. Frequent manual inspections mean workers in a dangerous environment, they're pretty much entering these environments and it increases the risk of accidents and exposure to hazards. And all of this, it stems from one key issue. TTC's system, like most other transit agencies, it still relies heavily on scheduled or reactive maintenance, and that just isn't sustainable.
So as we saw, the current situation not only impacts infrastructure, but also puts off, but also the budget. But most importantly, it impacts the people who are maintaining the system. And this is a very urgent, serious matter. Behind every reactive track repair is a TTC crew who are undergoing urgent and high risk environments under time constraints, and the risk is real. In 2024, the US Transit audit warned that substantial risk of either injuries or deaths are present for such workers. And this is an issue that is impacting TTC, as unsafe work in an aging system is not sustainable. It's a not just a technical issue, but it's a human one. And at the same time, the workforce is undergoing more strain. Across North America, 96% of the transit systems are experiencing staff shortages. And out of those 96, 84% would say that it impacts their service delivery. And TTC is not immune to that, and we experience that quite a lot. And when fewer hands are operating, it requires more complex and urgent conditions.
So we looked at how other global leaders are approaching this challenge, particularly in high density, high volume transit systems. The New York MTA partnered with Google and they piloted an initiative called Track Inspect. Essentially, they equipped subway cars with smartphones that use sensors, accelerometers, gyroscopes, microphones, etc., to detect abnormal vibrations and sounds. These signals were analyzed by AI to identify defects, and the result was that the system correctly identified 92% of track issues before they became failures. Singapore's LTA system similarly implemented REAMS. This is a predictive system that pulls real time data from sensors, integrating track wear, environmental data, and system stress into one centralized platform. Equipping maintenance teams with the right data and tools evidently becomes very, very important. TTC has the foundation to lead a similar shift. So here's our proposal. What if TTC subway trains could become the eyes and ears of the entire track system, continuously monitoring track health in real time? We would do this by mounting modular sensor pods on subway trains. The sensor pods would be equipped with LiDAR, ultrasonic pulses, vibration, infrared sensors, air quality and leak sensors, and computer vision to identify visible damage and debris. This data would feed into our live interactive digital dashboard we've called Track Inspect. We've called actually the Track Health Digital Twin. So this is a real-time virtual model of TTC's entire subway network. It identifies risk zones along the tracks and highlights predicted failure dates and prioritizes repairs based on predictions on the severity of the issue to ensure work is done during times that minimize service disruptions. The data would also be combined with environmental context. So we would obtain data from sources like track wear and historical stress patterns, passenger load from fare card usage, braking behavior, and even localized weather data like heat waves and moisture patterns. Now, this environmental context becomes very important because real stress doesn't happen in a vacuum. Imagine it was like a hot summer day, trains are very crowded, and the braking has been very harsh around sharp curves. This creates a perfect storm for metal fatigue. Essentially, our system doesn't just record wear, it understands it, and it uses that context to predict exactly when and where issues will occur. The final component of our solution is a built-in AI field assistant. Technicians would carry tablet dashboards with access to live track health visualizations, past repair history, and AI trained on TTC maintenance practices and procedures to give suggestions on how they can do repairs and best practices on the field.
So to really bring this to life, we created a medium fidelity prototype of the TTC track care dashboard. So just really quickly, we'll walk you through what this would look like. But essentially, when TTC maintenance crews go onto the dashboard, they have access to the TTC network map. They can select a specific station and then go into the details of that station. So it'll show you a photo of exactly where the issue is happening. So here it's on the right side of the track. You'll then be able to see the history as well as the maintenance schedule of this specific track, as well as AI predictions. We also have a chat option here for maintenance crews if they want to have more specific questions into the track itself, or just to be able to summarize all the sensor data in a tangible way where they don't have to really see all these analytics. The last part here is that we have a ticketing system where we would have a leader that would be able to assign specific tickets to employees. That employee can then go into the system and mark it as complete, add a comment, or update the status. Additionally, we do want to account for risks that we'll get into a little bit more down the line of our presentation, but essentially we'll also have a systems setting feature where in the case that there are a lot of false positives, there is a way to do an emergency system shutdown that shuts down all data analysis and all data gathering. So I'll bring it back to our presentation, but this is just an overview of what this dashboard will look like.
Beyond safety and cost savings, our solution delivers a significant environmental benefit, which allows TTC to meet its long-term sustainability and climate commitments. By shifting to predictive data-driven maintenance, we reduce unnecessary inspections as well as extend the lifespan of the infrastructure. Research from University of Birmingham shows that going this route helps to cut maintenance-related emissions by 65%. It also aligns directly with Transit TO, which is the City of Toronto's climate action strategy, which aims for net zero by 2040. Our system helps TTC to reduce Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions by minimizing emergency downtimes while also leveraging energy intensive repair infrastructures operations. Finally, the solution also addresses the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, including safer, more dignified work environments under the SDG 8, smarter and more resilient infrastructure and innovation through SDG 9, and meaningful climate action under SDG 13, as well as cross-sector collaboration under SDG 17. These aren't just tech boxes, but these are reflecting the broader impacts of our solution that go beyond transit, that addresses both sustainable and equitable urban futures. It's a win for the operation as well as for the planet.
Our proposal was shaped with TTC's corporate plan in mind and directly supports several key priorities. We address 2.4 in the corporate plan by helping maintain a consistent state of good repair using real-time data from our solution to guide timely interventions. And under 2.4.1 of this plan, we support the maturation of TTC's enterprise asset management capabilities by enabling a more data-informed and long-range planning across the subway network.
We also took a step back to assess this proposal through a SWOT lens, looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges ahead. Now, the biggest strength is worker safety. Our system reduces the need for hazardous manual inspections and emergency interventions. A key weakness is initial capital cost, though we see this as an investment that pays off quickly in avoided disruptions and extended asset life. The most exciting opportunity is positioning TTC as a leader in smart transit innovation with potential for cross-agency collaboration and expansion. And the top challenge is data security and privacy. This is something we'll prioritize in any implementation plan. Now, we believe these trade-offs are manageable and the upside is both meaningful and measurable.
Based on insights from TTC's Operational Safety and Planning Department, we found that the most effective way to test our system would be using the subway simulator at Wilson Division. That would provide us with a controlled environment to collect data without introducing any service disruptions. So we're proposing a 6-month pilot. In month 1, we want to define the scope and prepare the testing environment. In month 2, we want to do sensor installation and calibration. In month 3, we want to do live monitoring, validated by on-site inspection data. Month 4 and 5, we want to collect data and optimize the system, track KPIs like false positives and detection accuracy. By month 6, we want to deliver the final evaluation and decision package. The total cost of this is estimated at $50,000 due to the cost of the sensor pods, the installation, the digital infrastructure, that being our dashboard, and verification costs, because we need to go through this data to make sure it's aligning with our expectations. And our KPIs for this would include at least a 50% faster fault detection and 40% fewer service disruptions. These KPIs we would have to judge against historical maintenance records and issued work orders.
So to close the loop here, we mapped our proposal back to the core criteria of the Innovation Challenge, and we found strong alignment across all three areas. First, our solution creates safer working conditions and supports workforce readiness by reducing emergency responses and physical inspection risks, a step towards future-proofing TTC's front lines. Second, on data efficiency, we're introducing a scalable system that not only gathers smarter data, but also closes key gaps, making critical information more accessible for timely decisions. And lastly, green impact. We're extending the life of TTC's infrastructure, reducing unnecessary maintenance emissions, and helping riders stay on transit, all of which contributes to a cleaner, more sustainable city. Now, to close off our presentation, we wanted to give a glimpse of what our solution will look like in action. So here is a glimpse of what smarter, safer, and more connected subway maintenance could look like at the TTC. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to answering any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Team TTC. We will now be moving over to the final phase of the presentation, which is going to be the Q&A section with the national judges led by the board of the National Board Judges, the chair, Mr. Leslie Rogers himself. So, Leslie, I'll let you take it away. And once this Q&A commences, I will hit the 15-minute timer once again. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you, Isaiah, and to Team TunnelWatch. Thank you and congratulations for the development of your proposal. We have about 15 minutes for questions among the 5 judges. I would ask the judges that their questions be precise, and similarly the responses from the TTC team also. So starting alphabetically, we will start with Grace. Please proceed with your question.
Okay. Yes, so you mentioned in your presentation it's able to be integrated with Maximo, the existing enterprise asset management system. So if this solution were to be implemented at other transit agencies, would that be a fairly seamless integration with their systems, or would each deployment need to be more customized depending on their systems?
So it would have to be more customized. So Maximo does have some preventative maintenance features already embedded into it, because they do use sensor pods, but they have them on separate machines that go along the rail. So we do collect some of that data already. So because of that, it would actually be easier for TTC to implement something like this. If another transit agency didn't have something like that, they would be starting from scratch. And because we already have that implemented, a lot of what goes into this is training along the specific tracks, because the materials of the track and the material of the train will make a big difference in what threshold, like what sound is normal and what sound isn't normal. So that's going to be different for all transit agencies. So all of them are going to have to go through like a trial period where they're just testing and signaling or modifying what the sensors identify as good and what the sensors identify as bad. Did that answer the question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay.
Justin, you're up next.
Great presentation. I thought it was excellent. Great panel. I had a question. It's not really that big of a question, but my only question was, I saw you guys say there was concerns, or one of the cons was the union. And my question is why such a concern with the union if this is supposed to maybe alleviate a lot of the issues with safety and having to have people on tracks constantly? I guess I'm asking.
I can take that one away. That's a really great question. I think that we found with when we were speaking to TTC's union is that change, whether it's good or bad, there's always hurdles within like older transit agencies. So we looked at it more of a challenge as we're gonna have to do a lot of reporting to back to the union just to make sure that this is okay, even though it will benefit workers more. So I think it's just that hurdle of like getting them to understand the data and technology that we would have to go to for any type of change that happens.
Okay, I understand. So it's more of an inclusion thing versus
Yeah.
action. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Jose. If you're available to come on camera, but proceed with your question.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Unfortunately, I've been really ill this week, so I'm probably not going to be available on camera. But I did want to go ahead and commend the team for their great job. This was a fantastic presentation. It was very well put together, and you can tell there was a lot of effort and passion behind this. The only question that I had was to I think just something that can make the presentation more powerful, or just another action point that would go along with it is: are there any other transit agencies, globally maybe, that are using these current practices, or have already instituted these, that would just be able to go ahead and maybe provide you guys additional data points that will make that would just make your project that much more powerful? So that was my only question. If you guys had just done any research on if there's anybody else, any other transit agencies globally using this as of now.
As of now, we actually did research into two of them. So the New York MTA is one. They had a partnership with Google, and and their initiative was called Track Inspect. So they did a similar thing, and also Singapore's LTA system, they implemented Reams. So it's just about getting um, data with accelerometers, gyroscope, microphones, and putting that into like a centralized platform. So that's also where we got our KPIs from. We got it from their measurements. So when we said the system correctly identified 92%, that's our goal, and that was New York's like success rate.
Thank you. Next is Dr. Scobie.
Great presentation, TTC. We're doing a lot of this work here at TRB. So you're right, your research is very timely. I want to just quickly throw an equity lens on, and can you elaborate on how this project, was a great project, how the project will benefit kind of the underrepresented populations, marginalized communities, those kind of communities? If at all, just kind of with the equity lens.
I think to some extent it would, I'm not sure about marginalized communities, but it would definitely help people who are working on the ground or on the rails doing the less of a desk job and more of the hands-on work, which can be very risky at times. So it would be very helpful to those people to not be going into these dark tracks, these cold tracks at different hours of the day, different hours of the night alone. It would be good for them to be going in with some sort of monitor where they know where they have to go. They can get straight there, what they need to fix, and have some sort of not be so on the spot in figuring out how to resolve issues when they come up. So they'll have a little bit of background, and they'll have their AI assistant where they can pull up old records, they can pull up suggestions based on procedures that TTC currently has in place to solve issues, and it would just assist them on the ground so they're not so isolated in these dangerous areas.
And then
Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, to add on the user end, I would say that this helps both marginalized and underrepresented communities, because for us to get to that net zero, we lower emissions, which lowers the rate of smog within the city of Toronto, because we are a highly densely populated area, and the use of concrete also adds to like heat waves. So if we're able to help reduce climate emissions, this helps support our air quality within the city, as well as ensuring that we minimize emergency closures on the weekend and evenings for people to get to and from work, as well as events in regards to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, ensuring that we minimize emergencies and closures. This allows for everyone to get around Toronto to and from East and West End.
Thank you.
And my question is, if I understand correctly, the modular sensors are currently available and exist. And if so, is there a differential capacity factor such that we can distinguish between serious and less serious hazards that may be detected?
Yeah, so sorry. So ideally, it would be able to distinguish and prioritize based on the severity of the issue. So because we're giving it so much context, we don't just want it to say there's an issue, we want it to give more insight into what it is. And that's why we added like environmental context into this as well, and um, as well as the sensors we're going to have on the train. So based on what it has, it should have like a general idea of what the issue is and how likely that issue is to cause a service disruption. And based on that, it would prioritize the work orders to go out, and the most important thing would be like a work order would be issued right away, but something that maybe is going to become an issue in the future, we can deal with during the nighttime when it's not too big of an issue. So it would prioritize um, the thing with our data.
And one follow-on question. I see we have 6 minutes left. If I understood correctly, AI would be incorporated in the identification of the risk. Would AI also be utilized in the response to such identifications?
So the response, we have the AI chatbot which would help with the response, but the response would have to be from a maintenance worker. So, but they would have on their dashboard, they would be able to access like historical historical data, and also like procedures outlined in the TTC's maintenance work. So they would be able to get assistance through that.
Okay.
And to add on that, the AI would be also trained on, based on subject matter experts, the people that are used to dealing with these maintenance issues. It would be trained on their knowledge. So it's not just making up responses for how to handle some of these issues by itself, but it's based on data and knowledge from actual technicians and experts in handling some of the disruptions.
Thank you. A follow-up question, Grace? If any?
Yes, I'm just curious, are there any factors, I'm thinking mostly in terms of weather, cold climate, things like that, that would affect either the sensors themselves or the data output that you get?
Yeah, so that was actually one of our challenges too, is that the rails aren't exactly a very clean, tidy, like perfect weather conditions sort of thing. So we would have to make sure that those sensors are being looked after. And also that's why we were doing the pilot is such an important part of this, is that we need to make sure that they're being implemented in a way where they don't need constant maintenance, and also that the data they're collecting, and that's why some of our budget is going to go into like data verification, that the sensors, even if something does happen, they're letting us know if the data seems wrong. So that's why AI plays an important role too in verifying the data after our initial pilot when we do that through manual inspections.
And just to add to that, during the pilot, if there are concerns regarding weather-related issues, we could add weather-resistant enclosures onto the sensors to be prepared for that. So that's something that the pilot would help us prepare for, especially considering colder climates in Toronto. And yeah, as she mentioned, like we would be using AI to be prepared for some of the thermal changes that occur on the tracks and sensors uh, before implementing it through the entire subway network.
Thank you. So respectful of the remaining time among the 3 other judges, do any of you have a follow-on question? Justin, Jose, or Jamal?
Just, Jamal, I don't have one at this time.
Okay. Jose?
Currently, this question doesn't come to mind, but thank you.
Justin?
No, sir. I don't have any follow-up questions. Thank you.
Okay.
They don't let me ask any questions, so I'm just gonna stay in my box.
Right. But yeah, yeah, if there are no more questions to the
I just
judges,
have one question.
yes.
Yes. So are the conditions at the Wilson Yard representative of what we would encounter in a normal track situation?
So for something like this, this idea would have to be trained on each track. So pilot one would have to have its own training because there might be some differences in the subway trains that go on it. I know there's a different type in like line one and line two. And even if the train tracks itself have a different material, that would add additional like differences in what's normal and what's not normal. So the thing at Wilson Yard will be different, but it'll give us an idea on what we need to implement in terms of like what had been said about if whether it's going to become an issue and if we're getting enough data, if the data is steady enough, if we're able to make sure it's staying secure. And then once we have everything settled up, like the details, we'd have to again train it on line one and then line two.
Great. Well, thank you, Team Tunnel, for your responses, and thank the judges for your concise questions. I think we're at the end of our questioning. Isaiah.
Yes. Thank you so much to judges. Before Dr. Scott does close us out, to the entire team, you guys have one final chance to deliver any kind of final message, any final takeaways you would like to give to the judges, you know, whether it's in regards to your project, if there's anyone you wanted to acknowledge as far as your whole team putting together this entire project. Yeah, the floor is yours for anyone on the team who wants to deliver any final message or takeaway for the judges.
So I would just I want to add to the previous question related to the pilot. So I really want to emphasize the importance of doing the various different pilots for integrating into local subways. It's very important because these pilots will give insights that are potentially unique to those areas and similar to other areas, right? So it'll handle most of the main concerns related to train movements, most of the main concerns related to maintenance activity, weather exposure for areas that experience similar weather, and it's just a strong testing ground for most of the common occurrences and issues that will pop up. And as Amara said, there will be certain differences that we will need to account for anytime we do a pilot. But it's very effective. This method is effective in safely testing and also refining the technology as you're scaling to different subway environments. So that's just what I would say as to like wrap it up on the pilot point is just a way to get that reliable early data while minimizing that risk. Any other points that we want to add, guys?
No, I think you covered it all, Richie. I think also we just want to give a shout out to Nana Dewan and Michelle Jones at the TTC who really helped mentor us over the last few weeks. They were really important to this project, so just a quick shout out to them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for everything. To all the judges, we will see you guys in about 7 minutes for our follow-up meeting. But Dr. Scott, the floor is yours, and you can 100% close us out.
I just want to thank you, I think as everybody said, for just a very outstanding, very thoughtful, you made me reminisce on my own experience at Systems and your thoughtfulness and just how you thought it through. You considered things, no one cookie cutter. And I really like the drawback to the principles underpinning the end of innovation challenge, just a very, very complete package. And then quite candidly, as you have talked, your past experience at your organization is I know that the support will be there for you to actually be able to take it to a pilot stage. Okay. And so just very, very honored to have your participation.